right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Humble and Hungry podcast with DeVentri Jordan. As always, your host, Brandon DeVentri. This might be the most special episode I think we're going to do, just pure, and I don't know I've been saying this, but purely because of the history you have with this athlete, which is an exciting way for us to launch this series, are with athletes you've helped take from one level to the top level and the journey you've had with. So who did you want to bring on today for this episode?
One of my esteemed athletes, Ra'Shede Hageman. He's my little big brother. He's a guy I have a very special relationship with because he's a person where he's a bright light. He's funny, he's emotional, he's a big teddy bear, but he's a wonderful person and an exceptional athlete.
What kind of an athlete?
He's a big truck. He's a monster. When he walks into the room, you know he's there.
So he's a golfer.
Yeah, he's a football player.
Gotcha. All right, and how big of a teddy bear are we talking, Ra'Shede?
How big? I don't know.
How big are you, Ra'Shede?
You tell
What's
me.
your size?
How big of a teddy bear? 6'6". It's a pretty big teddy bear. I mean, you must like my bear hugs.
Yeah.
Bear hugs. Yeah.
What were you? Your playing weight? Were you 305, 320?
My playing weight, it was about 325.
And what are you wearing now?
About 280. 275 on a good day, on a good weekend. Depends on what we eat, but yeah, man, on a good day. But I feel a little lighter. I guess the cookies you guys gave me earlier were gluten free. I'm trying to cheat and eat healthy at the same time. So
Ra'Shede, let's talk. Let's talk about you played tight end in high school. You're a highly recruited player. Talk to us about that. Like, what colleges could you have chose to go to?
Well, in high school, to be honest, football wasn't even like my love. Like, my passion was basketball. And I was playing basketball, throughout middle school. And I was playing football on the side. And I was playing tight end on the side, not really knowing too much history on the tight end position. I was just kind of bigger than all the other kids, so I wasn't really able to play wide receiver. But when I went to high school, my 8th grade year, I played freshman year, and that's when my coach told me I was too big to be in the wide receiver line, so come in the tight end line. And really changed my perspective because basketball and kind of tight end goes hand in hand. It's kind of like, throwing the ball off the backboard and catching it, with 2 hands. Kind of like a red zone concept, just throwing the ball up in the air over the small DBs and catching it. So it went hand in hand, and I seen the vision when I was young, and I just stuck with it. It really wasn't challenging at all for me to play tight end in high school. And so I was getting recruited all throughout the Big Ten. I had every Big Ten offer. Then I had Florida, and I was growing. But I finally made my decision to play for Minnesota because it was close to home. I guess you feel me, and obviously that's where my family is, and the food is free. You feel me? You can always go home and get you a free plate of ramen noodles or something.
And sweatpants.
And socks.
Yep.
All types of free necessities or whatever. So, I was definitely highly recruited as a tight end. I was number 2 tight end in the nation. I was right behind Talolo, who played for Atlanta. But, tight end was kind of a big deal for me, but I really didn't kind of see that big picture. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So, did you have any offers for basketball too?
Not really official offers, because I think a lot of the basketball coaches kind of knew I was going to take football serious, so they kind of just backed out. They weren't really kind of fishing for me anymore.
I'm going to take you back. You remember in the old gym we used to sit there and play horse and jump shots all day?
Yeah, we used to have the little rebound machine.
Yeah,
we would,
Dr. Dish.
I don't know. It was just kind of like a old basketball league, just the old guys shooting hoops. We still got it though.
I know. We still got it.
We still got it.
He beat me one time, a few times, in one-on-one.
Do we have to recruit him for Ultimate Hoops?
Yeah, definitely. He has his turnaround jumper, his little hook shot. Yeah.
It'd be like Juggernaut playing against a lot of intramural regular citizens. I don't think it'd be fair. Probably get fouled out first half. Do they have fouls?
No,
Oh, yeah.
they do got refs.
Probably gonna need security or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Look, I'm not trying to play fair, trying to win, but I like it. So it's really interesting too, because I think the other angle is we have Ra'Shede, which we haven't really done. Is we have Dr. Castor from the Life
Yes.
Clinic here as well, and I'll kind of let you bridge that gap. But we definitely have a good episode that I think we can dig into, and we've established the fact, I think, real quick that you two are quite friendly, which is fun. But I guess, where do you want to take it from his time at the U and to getting drafted?
So you're at the University of Minnesota. It's a different level of a game for you, right? People are bigger, faster, or stronger.
Made the transition.
You made the transition. They put weight on you, right? So you go from tight end to D tackle, right? So now you're carrying an excess amount of weight on you that you're not used to carrying.
Correct.
Like, or did you get banged up, nicked up? Like, talk to us about, like, your body maintenance at that point.
You know what? The crazy part is, as soon as I got to college, they immediately had me in the weight room, and I seen a tremendous, like, turnaround just with my size. And I was already, 6'5", 6'6", as a rookie. As a freshman in college, and I was already, but maybe like 250 going on 260. You know what I'm saying? So they hulked me up. And the thing was about, getting used to the whole routine of just eating, healthy before and eating healthy after. It's just they drilled us with the amount of education when it comes to how to eat and how to take care of our body. So, like, when it comes to, like, the conversation we have DeVentri on, taking care of our body, it's, like, kind of second nature when it comes to the conversations we have. And I've learned that in college, and I've kind of stuck with that routine of what to eat. Protein the size of your hand, in case, maybe Chipotle, you get a burrito bowl, cut it in half, cut it in, in threes, So it's like a lot of things I learned from college. But as far as my body, like, they had chiropractors, they had massage therapists, they had doctors, they had nurses. So we had the whole team. So whenever, we had a scratch or a turf scratch, there was always something, like, they gave us to help us.
So Doc, pivoting back to you, how important is it for athletes to take care of their body? I think a lot of athletes, they're young, right? So they feel like they could just go work out, go play in a game. They don't have to do any, prehab, any recovery, and they get back and go play again.
Well, I think to link it all together, I always ask these athletes, who do you watch or who do you emulate? And the example that I always use is I had a chance to see Jerry Rice play twice. I saw him play in 1988, and I saw him play in 1998.
Right.
And there wasn't a lot of letdown in his performance, let's just put it that way. He treated his body like a temple. He utilized massage therapy and chiropractic, and he's not the only one. There's a ton of athletes that are doing that. Since coming on here with you all, what I've seen, or what I love, is there's an emphasis on working hard, but there's also an emphasis on recovery, and that's something that a lot of those great athletes, they do. They just don't maybe advertise it as much.
Right.
From the ground up, you guys are doing quality nutrition. You're doing proper workouts. You're being very conscientious about when somebody gets nicked up. You got to change that workout.
Right.
And that's what I'm working on with some of these trainers too. But I say, you look to the athletes that you emulate, but you guys are doing something different than I've seen before.
I appreciate that. We take an approach where we like to meet the athletes where they're at, right? And every athlete's different, and Ra'Shede could talk about that. You have some athletes that just sometimes mentally they just come in drained, right?
Right.
So you have to change the workout up.
Yep.
Some athletes may, have a sprained ankle or hamstrings are too tight or a pulled knee. There's so many different things that could just happen just like that you have to always meet the athlete where they're at, and the plan that you may have for that day may change.
Well, that's an important point that you make. A couple of the trainers and some of the discussions that I've had, they almost talk about the assess, which that's what we do too. We assess. Yeah. So they see something coming in that it doesn't look right when they're maybe doing a squat. I'm like, back out of that. Let's just do a weighted squat with no weight and see what it looks like. and they can sometimes see some things. They've pulled me over before, like, what's going on? And then you get a history. I might tweak my ankle a little bit. Well, that little tweak ankle is turning into something big.
Right.
You guys are like putting out the fire before it blows up on this athlete, which is really special. That's something that I've not seen with any other training.
And, we end up getting, and speaking to that, we end up getting a lot of athletes from a lot of different training facilities because of that point, because, they're used to pushing so much heavy weight that they get injured. Right. And then they come to us, and now we fix them up, right, and get them back to playing again and get them back active again. But then we just give them a different approach to training.
You know what the worst thing is? And you can speak to this. You've maybe been through this. I think it's a tragedy when you've got an athlete that's working toward a goal that they've had since they were a little kid. Mm-hmm. And then they have an injury. And then what typically will happen, it's like, well, next.
Right. Yep.
Next. Who's next?
Yep. Next
right?
player.
Yep.
Next player mentality.
And, depending upon where that athlete is at, they don't know how to handle that.
Right.
That's a mental thing, and there's a physicality thing. And, it's unfortunate. That's another thing that I think you guys pride yourselves on. Look at the relationship that you two guys have.
Yeah.
Your trainers are carrying on those same relationships with a lot of their players down there.
And I think what we try to do is, like I said, we try to get to know our athletes, because training is not just a physical, it's mental, right? And if I can mentally get you there, physically it's going to be a lot easier for us.
Right.
And that's the approach that we take, speaking when we got Ra'Shede, and, mentally we just had to get him there, right? And my first workout was a good workout.
No, it was a way to break the ice.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and I definitely wanted to touch on what you were talking about as far as the your example was when somebody gets hurt and it's the next player mentality, or just the next player up, or the next person taking their job or whatever. And as a professional athlete, to back when I was a kid, the mental part can really, really affect the physical. And that's one thing we don't really grasp on. The TV, the ESPNs, they show you the physical, but as everybody at this table knows, it's got to be mental before physical. And to see somebody working on, an injury, or they get hurt and then they see their job get taken away, we've been trained that way since, high school. You feel me? To where, it mentally messes us up to where we don't know what anxiety feels like or depression feels like, because we get these feelings at high school or even younger than that of, man, somebody took my job, or somebody took my position, or I'm not good enough to play here. I don't qualify here. And then we start to, we don't identify these young to where we get, I'm 30, and it's now that, I'm 30, I'm starting to now experience what some of these mental or these situations are. You feel me? So I feel like just the way the game is set up, just sports or football in general, the whole doing rehab and getting better and getting stronger and mentally, building your mind up to, be confident to play, and then you sprain your ankle, boom, now you're sinking deep, man, I just feel some type of way, I feel depressed. And it's more about just the mental than physical. Well, if you can help out the mental, the physical is maybe 25% of the game.
Yep.
So, but I definitely had to tap into what you said. I definitely agree on that.
One last point too is that another thing that they've been working with is I ask these athletes, I always love it doesn't matter, weekend warrior, people back at the clinic, or these athletes, what's your pregame routine? A lot of them don't have that, right? So that's another key element that GameFace is working on is, because everyone has different old injuries. A lot of people maybe have an old sprained ankle or a knee or a hamstring issue. How are you going to prepare that body part for your activity that you're going into, right? And if you can have control, knowledge is power. If you can have a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of power over that situation, it helps you conquer, what's before and get you ready for your performance or your activity, so you can perform optimally.
So let's go back to you. It's draft night. You get,
What color was the suit?
Yeah.
Color was it was all gray.
Did it custom fit?
Custom fit. I had it was all custom. I actually had 2 suits. I had because unfortunately I didn't get drafted the first day. I had a backup suit.
Okay, so you had a second day suit.
Had a second day suit.
Okay.
Second round suit.
Yeah. Like,
That's good preparation.
On the coat it said second day suit. So, it was like a backup Superman suit.
Was it gray too?
No, that was just regular black and white.
Okay,
I didn't really put too much emphasis on the second day suit. Who really cares about the second day? You feel me? But what were you saying?
So you get drafted. Your name gets called. So you they call you. Do they draft you? Didn't call you? Like.
That's a good question. So the first day, I'm chilling with, all the Odell Beckhams and the Jadeveon Clowneys. I'm feeling good. I got information I might get picked up to Arizona. Arizona's supposed to pick me up, but they re-signed Peterson, the safety.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting, and then, I'm just happy. And then, first pick, 5th pick, 10th pick, last pick, Minnesota Vikings pick, Teddy Bridgewater. I'm like...
2 glove Teddy.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm like, I'm being happy, I'm smiling. The mask is on, I'm smiling, but I'm really, really, depressed, mad, angry, like, Second day, Atlanta calls me like, hey, you ready to go? And then boom, the tears break out, one shining moment. You know what I'm saying? That kick in. And so, it was breathtaking, man, just to go out there and see, the fins and the flash.
No, hold on, back up.
I got a little excited.
So you get drafted.
Right.
You're on a phone call.
Right.
Like, what's next? Like, you're hugging all your family. Do you get on a flight that day? The next day, like, what do they tell you? Pack your bags, come out here so we can do a photo op. Like, what happens?
So, like, the next day or the day after, you got to fly out there and start, signing papers and getting tested and getting, poked and prodded at. So me and the first pick was Jake Matthews. We went down there, shake hands, with the general manager, the owner, the head coach. It really, from college to the NFL, like the moment I stepped foot in that office, like it was an office, not a football facility.
Yeah.
And that, like that was probably the weird feeling. Like when I walked in, it was like, wow, this is really serious. like you got HRs, people like on the business side of football. So it was like I was, I had to.
Read the employee handbook.
Pull the pants up,
right.
Learn how to shake an employee's hand, so couldn't speak Ebonics, so, but that was probably like one of the biggest, if I even asked you a question, I'm kind of freestyling right now.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So tell me about your first NFL game.
My first NFL game, man.
Were you nervous?
Was I nervous? No, my first NFL game, we played Cincinnati, and it was the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm looking around, and I get emotional. Like, I don't know why. It was my first game. But we go out there, and my very first play, I get pancaked on my behind, and I get yelled at. The first play, I get pancaked, and then they didn't call a timeout, but they subbed me out, and my defensive coach gave me a sweet earful of love. We'll say that.
Okay.
So that was my first game, first play. So
now, redemption later, though, right?
Oh yeah, for sure, redemption later. But like when you're like your first play, you're looking around, your hands in the grass, and you're seeing the quarterback and the O-line. It's just you playing Madden from when you were super young, and your football camps, and now you're seeing the emblems on their helmets and the real tape with a little bit of dirt. I can go real detail, you feel me? Like, when you see all that and the quarterback says hike, you're a little hesitant, you feel me? I was observing when it was time to play.
So let's go.
Looking around.
I'm going to speed up because we have so much time. Super Bowl week.
Preface.
You made it to the Super Bowl. Right? You guys won the last game. You go to the Super Bowl.
Right.
And you guys have to play the New England Patriots.
Tom Brady. We'll just say Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So the whole week you guys are preparing. You're enjoying the Super Bowl festivities. now you guys have to play Sunday night in front of All America. Tell me about
The world.
The world.
The world.
The
Yeah,
world.
the world.
Tell us about it.
I hear players don't like the week before.
No, because you really don't like. You have a week before Super Bowl, but when you first get there, you have your 2 days of freedom. After your 2 days of freedom, then it's time to crunch down, curfew, dogs, sniffers. You got cops on bikes, cops on horses, cops on bikes. You know what I'm saying? It's like very security. Like it's kind of. It's a hassle, you got to sign autographs and security. It's just, you're right. It's just it's the mental part before the physical,
right? And
you build like you're mentally preparing, you're visualizing yourself, Ra'Shede. Getting an interception, running down. What's gonna be your touchdown dance? It's really detailed, like
right.
But I mean, Super Bowl was.
What would have been your dance though?
Well, man. I don't know, but it probably
the Dougie.
Yeah, it would have been like a slow Dougie, real smooth. Like, it gotta be like to the beat. A lot of shoulder movements, but yeah, the Super Bowl. Really, to be honest, it was after the Super Bowl, like after we lost. Like it
Hold
was.
on, let's not go there yet because I'm gonna ask you a question about that.
Ask me about it. Well, I just
you want to talk about it?
Kept it blunt.
This is how he remembers.
That's how I remember it.
There was a lead up, and then there was a post match.
You guys are winning. Like I almost turned the TV off at the halftime. You guys are winning. The game was over. It was over.
3-24, man.
And then like that fourth quarter, like what was the conversation? Like, yeah,
man. Tom Brady's just an amazing athlete, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like halftime, just my own vibes, my feelings. Like I knew something wasn't right. Like we are kicking their behinds, and Tom Brady isn't having a good game. So I'm thinking maybe Tom Brady had, an argument with his wife. Maybe,
right.
He's mentally, out of the game. You feel me? Which is great.
Right.
But, hey, I wish, the best with our relationship.
So y'all got the Super Bowl hats. Y'all about to bring them out early.
Yeah, but then the second half, Tom Brady just, maybe it was like he sprinkled some glitter on him or something. And then he went out there and just kicked our behinds. It had to be, it was something in the water over there. I don't know. Bill Belichick be up to something. I don't know.
Man, I was like.
You were on TV. I was on the field.
Right, you was on the field.
I was just like, at a point in time, I was in 3-point stands just admiring Tom Brady. Like his face is really this clear in person. You know what I'm saying? and then the ball gets hiked and, he throws it down 10 yards and scores a touchdown. So, but, he's just, like, long story short, Tom Brady came in second half and he just did a whole diagnostic on our team. He dissected our team, our first half, and came out the second half and dominated. Just, killed our weaknesses straight up.
So, for listeners out there, Ra'Shede, you faced a lot of adversity growing up in your life, and we don't have to get into that much detail because we don't have that much time. But what made you into the elite athlete that you were? Facing the things that you faced in your life, what helped you get to where you're at? Was it, I got to make it, or is it there's an opportunity that I can make it? Like, what pushed you?
Really, it was both. Growing up in foster care, again, we're not to get in too deep of it.
Right.
Maybe we can save it for part two.
Part
two.
What I'm saying? We definitely will have a part two.
But
his story is amazing.
But long story short, I guess just having role models and watching on TV, successful men, successful African American men being able to, have a story like me and make it out. So I definitely looked up to a lot of, characters on, even cartoon characters who were just like weren't always looked upon as the hero. You know what I'm saying? Like who was always the outcast. I would always vote for them and root for them. So, I mean, just growing up, I was always a physical kid and just super athletic. And kids and moms and dads would always be like, yo, they'd always point, positive, like, yo, that kid has something special. And I kind of, act like I didn't hear it, but it planted a seed in my head, and that kind of just drove my confidence out the roof. No matter what my situation was, foster care or being homeless or whatever it was, like I could always find a rock to throw, a basketball to bounce, or something to do a flip off of, and just have that mentality is, I'm gonna be, one day I'm gonna succeed, and I'm gonna, let people know that, underdogs can make it too. So that's kind of what's kind of stuck with me to this day. So
I have two more questions for you, then we could be done. First thing is, what advice would you give to a young athlete that wants to make it to the top? Like, what would you tell them? They're asking you, hey, Ra'Shede, man, I want to make it. I want to get there.
You got to love it, or you have to be in love, or you have to be willing to fall in love with it. That because when you're in love with it and you love to do it, then there's no excuse to cheat it. You feel me? There's no excuse to, practice, in the mornings and go to the mall, or, eat cheeseburgers and cake, the next day. Like, when you love to do something and you passionate about it and you see yourself doing it for a long time, like, the routine and just to get up early is all motivating. Just everything, the pain, or just the playful fights we get into. Like, nah, Ra'Shede, 10 more. Like, ooh, I hate you, DeVentri. But it's like,
I love you later.
In the back of my head, it's like, my goal, and this is what it's going to take to get it. So, because it's like, when you're before and after pictures of doing the six-pack.
Right.
Before, you're seeing the blubber, but the after is like, man, DeVentri, I appreciate you for kicking my butt.
Right.
That's the passion about it. Being able to accept the pain and everything, the uncomfort, and replace it with just, like, your goals and your love. That's why.
So what would you say to – you're retired now. So what would you say to the incoming rookie into the NFL? What piece of advice would you give him?
Man, just – really, what who was it? The running back from the Seahawks,
Marshawn Lynch.
Marshawn Lynch.
Mr. Skittles.
Protect your chicken, aka protect your money and your mental. Like, your mental, because this is a game that you know what you sign up for, but then on the other side, you really don't see what's on the other side of that fence of what a retired football player does, or or what he has or what he has to deal with. But I mean, there's a lot of teammates, ex-football teammates who will say the same: protect your mental and understand, your feelings, your emotions, and you can't carry out the when you're angry or you feel some type of way to, suck it up and next play mentality. You can't do that in the regular world. It's okay to express your feelings, and it's okay to express, your mental. Mm-hmm. Just focus on your mental, because this is a head-butting game. You feel me? So, just, keep track of that in your money. That's probably the two most important things I can say.
Just that first snap, be careful. Don't get caught watching.
Don't get caught watching. Don't look at the quarterback. Look at the ball.
Awesome. We appreciate it, Dr. Castor. Obviously, Ra'Shede. I think more will be coming on this podcast from both of these gentlemen. Yep. This is almost like a taste test of what's to come. I mean, like I said, we could have gone about 7 different routes in these guys, but we're so great to have them again, listeners. If you enjoyed it, go follow them on, social media, give them a call, let them know what's up, and we appreciate it. But more to come, DeVentri, promise?
Yes, more to come.
All right, you enjoying this so far?
Man, I love it. I love it.
Hey, listeners, if you're enjoying it, let us know. You can send us an email, drop a review. Let us know what you're liking, what we can do to change it. But, hey, more to come from the Humble and Hungry podcast with DeVentri and Jordan. That's a wrap for this one. Look out for the next episode.